So continuing on from the previous part of our tutorial, we're going to create another blueprint actor, and I'm going to call them BP tetromino. Open this up, and I'm going to add a cube just like before, compile this and close it. And after that, I'm going to right click on the blueprint that we just created and select create child blueprint class. I'm going to call this BP tetromino. So this tetromino blueprint will be the parent blueprint where all of our other tetromino pieces would inherit from. This way, any child of this blueprint will inherit its code, making it easy for us to add the logic for its movement, rotation, and more. So now we're going to create the other tetromino blueprints, which are going to be the actual pieces we are going to spawn in our level. So I need to create 4 more additional tetromino pieces. Alright, so I have created the 5 tetromino pieces which we're going to use in our game. And to better organize all of this, I'm going to create another folder and call this tetromino pieces and select all of these pieces and drag them into this folder over here. After that, right click on this folder and select update redirector references. So now I'm going to open up each one of these tetromino. So I want to open up the I tetromino, and when you open up a new blueprint, sometimes you'll come across this window over here, and to go back to our full blueprint view or the editor, just click on this link like thing over here, and you'll be back to the usual view of our blueprint over here. So yeah, come back to our viewport. So now I'm going to add a couple of cubes, and each of these cubes will make up our tetromino piece. And I also need to mention that the keyboard shortcuts that work in this viewport over here doesn't really work over here. Alright, so we can't really duplicate our cubes in this blueprint editor by pressing the Alt key like we did in our viewport over here. So I just compile this, and I want to also give it a unique material. So for that, I'm obviously going to create another material instance. So just select all of our cubes and apply the material instance. We're going to change the color to something else. So I'm going to make this something like this. Alright. And yeah, we're going to click on save, close it. And I'm going to do the same for each of our tetromino pieces over here. And you can duplicate the cubes by clicking on the Ctrl+D shortcut. You can easily duplicate cubes in this blueprint editor. So just position each of our cubes. And also, while you're creating this blueprint, try to build the piece in such a way that the root cube, just this cube over here, in the center that's highlighted over here with this outline, is at the center or almost at the center of the tetromino piece. This is so that when we kind of rotate our pieces, it doesn't kind of look weird, and it's just easier to control and rotate our pieces. Right, so compile, save it. So I'm just going to keep doing this for each and every single piece. Alright, so I have created the 5 tetromino pieces and given them each a unique color. I'm also just going to quickly drag all these 5 materials of our tetromino pieces into our tetromino piece folder over here. This is so that they are all kind of nicely organized. And once again, updating the redirector references. So back in our viewport, I'm going to click on this icon over here and then search for target point. Bring this all the way up. And now it's 1600 in the z-axis. And I want this target point over here to be exactly at the center of this playfield. So I'm going to change the perspective to top. And I'm going to try adjusting the positions. So now our target point is exactly at the center of this playfield. You can count the number of cubes in the x and y axis and it would be at the center of this point over here. So changing our view back to perspective, I'm going to now create a new game mode. So we are going to click on Blueprint class and choose game mode base. I'm going to call this Tetris game mode. Open this up and in the event graph, actually before that, I'm going to navigate to functions over here, click on this plus icon and type spawn new piece. So I think you already know how to create some blueprint nodes and such. So I'm not going to explain how I created each and every node. So to follow along with this tutorial, just pause the video. So to now retrieve a piece that we have created in here, I'm going to create another variable called tetromino pieces. And in the variable type, I'm going to search for BP tetromino. And I'm going to choose class reference over here. And then over here, I'm going to click on this icon over here and choose array. I'm going to first compile this blueprint. So to get rid of this error, I'm going to delete that node temporarily. And then back over here, after we have compiled, we have this new setting over here. And I'm going to click on this plus icon over here to add 5 elements. Alright, so these 5 elements will store the 5 tetromino pieces that we have created over here. So in this drop down, choose each of these tetromino pieces that we have created. And again, make sure you don't select this option over here, the BP tetromino, because that's not actually a piece, that's actually a parent tetromino. So yeah, compile this and then drag our tetromino pieces. We're going to get it and then recreate the nodes as you see. And while you're recreating this node, make sure you try getting the get node with the word copy over here and not a reference. The get node that is actually a reference and not a copy can actually modify the array that it's actually getting its values from. So unless you want to change the values in the tetromino pieces, which we are not going to do so in this tutorial, you should always get the get node with the word copy in it. Alright, so we are done with this function. Back in our event graph, I'm going to drag this function over here and then connect the execution pin of the begin play with this function that we just created and compile this blueprint. After that, click on this icon over here and then navigate to the game mode over here. Then navigate to the select game mode base class. We're going to choose the game mode that we created, the Tetris game mode. And now you can see our new game mode is actually the Tetris game mode and not the previous default game mode that comes with Unreal Engine. So now if I were to try running this game, you can see we have a piece spawned in the middle of our playfield over here. If I were to run the game again, you can see we have a new piece in our game. And by the way, you can stop simulating the project or our game by clicking on the escape key. And also our borders doesn't really disappear when our game is running, so I'm just going to select all these borders over here and then navigate to rendering and select the option actor hidden in game. So if I were to run the game again, and it's another piece this time, so our code over here, spawn new piece, will randomly choose any of the 5 tetrominos over here that we have created every time we run our game. So this means our pieces are all working. And that's it for this video. In the next part, we're going to add movement and rotation to our pieces so that we can actually control our pieces in our playfield. Thanks a lot for watching and see you in the next part. Bye.